Hi, Jack. Hi, Terry. Hello, dear beloved spiritual family in the UK. It's wonderful to be here together. I always love being on gallery view, so I was just looking at all your faces as we were enjoying Brother Fatlai's guided meditation together. And when um, when we think about what it means to build community, that beautiful excerpt from Tai sharing about having a sense of direction to go in, and we have a wonderful community builder in our sangha, and that is Christiana Figueres, and many of you know her as the architect of the Paris Climate Agreement, as a leader in her own right in the kind of climate field. And what has been so amazing in her contact with the Dharma over what I believe is now 12, 13, 14 years since she first wrote to Tai and asked for his help for to support the Paris Climate Agreement. Christiana has then also, as well as going on her own very deep journey, has seen ways that Christiana can build Sangha in her professional world, which is this climate and nature space. And it's so powerful to see how, where there's not Sangha, Sangha can be made. It's so powerful to see how people of different views can still enjoy an amazing retreat together. It is really powerful that we can learn different ways of being in the world, especially with these in-person gatherings. And because we have Plum Village here in France, we've been one of the main locations for Christiana to convene such important strategic leaders, what Christiana calls the architects of the future. And that's such deep Dharma work, as Tai said in his clip, that is worth our time and our energy. And what we're all dreaming of, the North Star that we're going in the direction of, and it's every week I feel becoming more and more a reality, is to have such a place of convening in the UK so that we can bring together people, important decision makers, visionaries, and as well as a real grassroots community that can hold this space. But there's no one who knows more about that and the challenge of lay community building, but also meaningful kind of colleague community building, and that's Christiana. So I have the great honor, these are my 2 minutes, to welcome my beloved spiritual friend and elder, Christiana Figueres, and it will be wonderful for Nick to be able to share some questions. It's lovely to see you, Christiana, I believe joining us from Costa Rica. Lovely to see you here.
Thank you so much, sister. And I'm thrilled that I appear in camera under the name of Nick, as a very helpful reminder of interbeing. So today I am Nick and Nick is me, and we are all actually each other. I have no idea what happened here with the Zoom, but when even the Zoom has messages for us very often. So I see Nick appearing under some other capacity.
So I am here and I am having the exciting journey to see if I can spotlight myself. And
there you go. There's the other Nick.
Here we go.
Now
fantastic.
We have 2 Nicks. Hello to my other Nick.
Fantastic. So, Christiana, we've seen each other a few times in Plum Village, and I'm so happy to welcome you to our Being Peace evening. And my first question for you, and I'm enjoying that we're both Nick Kenrick on the screen. I'd like to change that halfway through so we both become Christiana on the screen at the same time.
But you can be Christiana and I can be Nick for a little while.
Well, let's do it that way. Let's
just try that on for a while.
Well, in that case, my first question to you, Nick, is what does it mean to you personally to be part of this tradition, part of this community? Before we touch on the sort of professional side, why are you here? What is it that touches your heart or your mind that has made you choose this community as your spiritual home?
So Plum Village is definitely my spiritual home, and I am delighted to join you all and to see so many smiling faces. The fact that you have to like scroll through another screen and another screen and another screen is just so delightful. And it's only more delightful when we're all together in Plum Village or in a UK center. How exciting is that? I lived in London after I finished working at the United Nations. I lived in London for 2 years, and I'm sitting here thinking like, wow, it would have been so wonderful if we had had a center then, but we're going to have a center now. So I am really so thrilled about that. But Nick, yes, to your question, I have made over the years, I have made Plum Village my spiritual home, because honestly, it is the only way, to put it in very prosaic and lay terms, it's the only way to keep my mental sanity. That's to say it quite simply. I devote my life to working on global climate change, and it is not a threat that is becoming more mitigated or smaller. It's a threat that is becoming more and more destructive, and hence those of us who are in that field, we tend, or I tend, but I think it's not just me, but many of us, we tend to get thrown into the box of fear and dread, hopelessness, helplessness, anger, frustration. I mean, the seeds of that box are many. And the only way that I have found to be able to embrace all of those emotions that are quite paralyzing, if your dedication is to go out there in the world and contribute to the positive change. But if I stay in that box, having watered those seeds of anger, frustration, helplessness, hopelessness, all of which are there, if I only stay there, then I notice that my agency is severely curtailed. And so the only way to both embrace those emotions and be able to metabolize them, to transform them, to compost them into the depth of energy that we need to go back out into the world and do the world and do the work that we need to do, is to understand the teachings of Thai. The greatest composter that I have ever met or read. He really is the master composter. That's what he teaches us. It's, how do you compost all of this? And he teaches us the value of those seeds that without his teaching, we would either ignore or we would be completely paralyzed by. So the fact that he teaches us to value those emotions and to turn them around, to compost them, to alchemize them into the strength and the conviction that yes, we can go out there and make a difference. It's just, I mean, honestly, every time that I witness it, I feel it, I feel like there's the magic again. It's like magic. It is like magic. And so having experienced magic, there's no way I'm going to give up on it. I am going to continue.
Wonderful. Thank you. And you mentioned this, this need for sanity, to maintain your own sanity in the midst of these challenges. And I think you draw the link there between your individual sanity and our collective sanity. As individuals, I guess we can have breakdowns and go through sufferings. And as a collective, we can have breakdowns and go through sufferings. And can you say a little bit about your journey of making that link between coming to Plum Village as a refuge for yourself, and then seeing how does that speak not just to your individual sanity, but the sanity of our whole species in what we're doing.
Yes, you're right. I did come to Plum Village, or rather, I went to EIAB in Germany first, and then eventually to Plum Village in France, for my personal alchemization, for my personal healing, for my personal recuperation of my joy and my and my strength in the work that I do with myself first personally. But what was very fascinating to me is over time to realize that it was actually through that composting that I was able to understand the work that has to be done outside. So when I work with my colleagues, either in my field or outside of my field, but in everyone who is working toward a better world in so many different fields and in so many different ways, the what is very clear to me is that we're all working toward increasing the resilience of the planet that we live on. And that because through our action, we have actually curtailed the natural resilience of this planet. And so it is our responsibility now to contribute to Mother Earth regaining that resilience and, in fact, even strengthening it. But what is evident is that it is very difficult or impossible to contribute to that resilience if I am not working on my own personal resilience. And I have noticed, in fact, I notice it on a daily basis, that on those days or when I engage in a task or where moments and situations come forth where I'm aware that I am working out of total alignment, where what I am, the work that I'm doing, the introspection, where I'm putting my mindfulness focus is consistent and coherent with what I'm doing outside. And by outside, I mean with the interactions or the engagements that I'm having with one other person, be it family or non-family, or with my work colleagues, or with my neighbor down the street, or with other people, working on other things. Everyone who is in our circuit. But to me, what I find is most helpful is that alignment. I just find it actually very unhelpful and certainly very unskillful, but I find it debilitating and weakening if I am having one type of energy and internal process and then expect myself to start or to ignite a different process out there. If I am in a space of anger and resentment and etc., which I'm prone to do, then especially in those moments, it is frankly very difficult, if not impossible, to then go out there and expect other people or the situation to turn into a situation or a conversation of love and understanding and compassion when I'm not in that space. So for me, the alignment between who I am, which seeds I am watering for myself, and what I want to do outside has to be aligned. It's not always aligned, but when it is so much more powerful, and it is so much more effective, and it is completely interconnected. And that's, one of the other beauties of Thay's teaching of interbeing, where he is so clear that who we are and which seeds we're watering is not disconnected from what is happening out there. It is actually one and the same. So that coherence and that alignment has been incredibly helpful for me, continues to be.
Thank you. And can you share how your work at the moment in joining up what is happening in the climate space with climate activists, climate leaders around the world, and what you see the resources are in Plum Village. Many people on the call won't know of the ways in which these are kind of coming together. And I wonder if you could share with the people on the call in quite concrete ways what you're working to do to sort of bring these resources together, and what you're seeing happening within the climate community as a consequence right now.
For the past maybe 2 to 3 years, I have been witnessing an increasing sense of pain, frustration, anger, suffering, all the way to suicidal thoughts, the whole gamut, among people who are working on global environmental issues such as climate, biodiversity, desertification. And I understand that pain. I understand that anger and that frustration, because I've been doing this for 30 years, and we all know that this is urgent, and we all know that it's not moving forward with the speed and the scale that we need. And so especially for new people coming in, especially for young people who, bless their heart, have the expectation that change can happen overnight or within 6 months or 1 year. And I say bless their heart because please don't give up that expectation, because we need that expectation also. But it doesn't always happen like that. And so the fact that that there is such frustration in the system has led me to have sort of a mega deja vu feeling of understanding, like, wow, these people are now the courageous people who are doing this work. And as Sister True said, these are the architects of the future. These are the people who are devoting their life to constructing the quality of life that we will have for at least the next 7 generations down the line. That's what they're devoting their life to. And so my huge respect for the work that they do. But if they fall into that box of pain and resentment and anger that I described at the beginning, then their agency is curtailed. And frankly, I've decided that we can't afford for their agency to be curtailed, because we need them. We need them out there. We need them out there every single day, and we need them with the incredible resource that comes from what I think of myself as a clear channel. And having been in a suicidal state years ago, and now me myself, and now seeing how many of these people are either there or getting close or into burnout or breakdown, etc., I just thought, wait. So then my little secret of having discovered Thai and Plum Village teachings is not something that I can keep as a secret anymore. It served me incredibly well. But now has come the time when I have to share this, because it was so incredibly healing to me, and so many thousands and thousands and thousands of people who are working on these issues need that kind of healing as well. And so I can't remember exactly when it was, but 2 or 3 years ago, I went to our dear monastics in Plum Village and I said, how about if we do a little experiment here? How about if we offer Plum Village teachings to this community? And I must say, every time I'm so grateful that the monastics have been willing to add to the many other responsibilities that they have. They've been willing to add learning about climate issues, about biodiversity issues, learning about the dynamic of where these thousands of people are, and making time in their schedule for us to be able to bring together people who most have never even heard about Plum Village, and they're working on these fields of global environmental challenges, and they are close to burnout or already there. And honestly, we just can't afford to lose them. So we have now brought together, I think, about 500 of these people from around the world. And we've been doing these retreats regionally, Latin America, North America, Europe, Asia, and what's the other one I'm missing? Sister? South America. I did that. South America,
North
Latin America, Europe, Asia, and I'm still missing one. We're going to, you're
Yeah.
muted.
Oh, well, you got Africa. You're lining up Africa as well, right?
Yes, we're lining up Africa and
The small
Oceania.
island states, the small islands.
Yes. Yes, so Africa and Oceania are now the ones that we're lining up to do, because there are people of all ages, but especially young people in every single continent that are devoted to this. And they're not doing it out of any egotistical reason. They're doing it out of love for our planet home and love for the rest of humanity, because they know that they will not see the results within their short lifespan. They will not see the results. The rest of humanity will see the results. And so we have been supporting these about 500 people, and will continue to do so. What has been the magic of it, Nick, to use that word again, is that after a retreat, these people go from being in deep boxes of despair to recuperating their joy, their resilience, their joie de vivre, their purpose of work. And they go back out there and they are just unstoppable. They are unstoppable. The stories that we're getting from the work that they're doing with each other individually, it is just, the most gratifying work that I have ever done. And thanks to the monastics.
Amazing. I want to pick up on one strand you said of how there was a period where you were almost a little bit undercover. You had this secret. And I first became aware of you. Many people on this call will have become aware of you through the work on the Paris Climate Accords. And I did not know at that time that you were a practitioner, that you were drawing on Thai's teachings for your own
But you
sustenance.
never asked me. I would have told you.
And you're certainly sharing the secret as widely as the benefits as widely as you can now, and certainly not undercover. And this summer, in fact, you joined the order of interbeing at Plum Village, and I just wonder if I could invite you to just share something about what that means to you in terms of a transmission. If you would be willing to maybe share your Dharma name, if you would like to.
Well, Nick, you know what is interesting? I hope that this answer doesn't disappoint everybody here, especially the monastics. Deep respect, but I was deeply moved by the ceremony, definitely, because every ceremony in Plum Village is very moving. And I didn't feel any different afterward, because I said, excuse me, we've all been doing this work forever anyway. And so it wasn't like I felt any different in terms of, I don't know, was I given more tools? No, because I've been gathering these tools for a while. Was I given more? I don't know. And I don't know what more, so to speak, I was supposed to gather. I was really touched by the ceremony and very impressed that the monastics decided to give me the name of sacred action of the sort. And I think, I'm not sure whether when the monastics give us names, whether, I think the name that they give us, and now, but also with the 5 MTs, is their aspiration for us, what they see the potential is, more than what they see. And so I was just a little bit like, oh my gosh, if that's the name they gave me, then that means I have to do more work than what I've been doing up until now, which is great, because I want to do it anyway. But the order of interbeing is, to me, one step of the many steps that we all take in the direction of continuing to deepen our understanding and being able to practice from a more grounded perspective rather than just from our head. I'm very head driven. And what I have noticed over the years is that, yes, I understand all of this. It's all very logical to me. But over the years, the ground from which I'm able to practice and to communicate goes deeper and deeper, just a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper. And that's incredibly helpful to have a deep root for the work that we do or the practice that we do, because the winds and the gales are very strong out there. And if our roots are not at least as strong, then we get blown in different directions. So for me, joining the OI community, as I say, was not like a huge difference. It wasn't like I had turned a completely new page. It's like, oh my gosh, now there's something completely different. It was just what I have noticed since then is just a little bit deeper. And that's a path that I very much welcome.
Thank you for sharing. It's a continuation of where you already were and what you're already doing and the direction that your life has been about. And I have a final question, which is just to make the link between places of refuge, practice centers, and this engaged work on the front lines. You see this sort of circulation. You see people coming into centers, learning a practice, going out into the world. Obviously, we're deeply looking to create the conditions for the best possible practice center in the UK. And how do you link that? Is this something that you see? Is it just for the UK? How does it link to everything else? And what is the role that practice centers can play in the change we need to see in the world at all levels, from the highest levels of politics and industry to our day-to-day lives? What does a practice center offer to?
Well, I guess several things are evident. One is, just speaking personally first, how important it was for me to have the EIAB that was very close to my home. So proximity of a practice center is really, really helpful, especially when we're just getting going. And if you have to travel a long way, then you just find way too many reasons and excuses not to go. So so bringing the practice center closer to where we are is incredibly helpful for us as individuals to be able to go with frequency in order to begin to change our habit energies and our habits, actually, but habit behaviors and habit energies, because those are so well rooted that we really need to make very mindful shifts in order to change those habits, both the habit energies and the habit behaviors. So having something close by for everybody who lives in the UK is very helpful personally. It is also very helpful as another node for collective composting. We would not have been able to do the work that we're doing with these communities were it not for the fact that we do have nodes where we can go and do the collective work. Because as we know from Thai, yes, the individual, but the collective, the Sangha, the community work has to be there as well. And so to have that in the UK is incredibly helpful, in the sense that obviously for people in the UK, but also for people from around the world, sometimes it's just much easier to get to the UK than it is to get to the south of France. And so to be able to have that as yet another option is really very, very helpful along a path that we should not be scared to admit. It's a difficult path. It is really a difficult path to lovingly but firmly uproot so many things that we have. And the path of unlearning and relearning is a difficult path, and it's a daily challenge. So when you can have something that is nearby and open to you, or at least easy to get to, it's just incredibly helpful.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. I know we need to release you for another call, I believe, with
Another PV related call.
another PV related call. You've been your calendar is booked up by Plum Village these days. Thank you for joining PV UK this evening, and I think we all really hope that we will also see you in the Being Peace Practice Centre in the UK, and be able to support this kind of engaged frontline work and transformation, along with all the other ways in which we will wish to support the collective healing in individuals in the world.
Wonderful, and very exciting to see this center finally come to life. Thank you, Nick.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Christiana.